I've been playing with a couple different things lately. One, my good friends at Softtube put together with the Chandler folks, and you guys know that I'm a super Chandler user, hardware and software as far as that goes. But I've been messing with this just on a bass. One of the things that we all do is we sort of chain things together, and the Zener is a kind of a cool box in that, or the Zender Bender as it's called here, is just a combination of the Zener and the curve bender, both of which I have hardware units of, and I use it for a variety of things. I love the overall compression that the Zener gives me, and the EQ of the curve bender is always a real smooth and kind of open sounding thing, quite subtle at some points. I used it on a bass here, and basically it gave me a real nice control. Like the bass was a simple live bass. I think it's a synth played live bass sound, and I really wanted it to be up higher in the mix and kind of punch out. So you see, I'm being pretty radical with the mid range, and pushing it quite a lot in the upper mids here, and a little bit higher as well on the curve bender. And then I've got the sidechain filter on the Zener set at about 50 hertz, so it kind of avoids that frequency in the compressor, and I'm pushing it in quite a lot. I know we don't have sound here,
not today,
but you'll see that I'm kind of grabbing it. Let me see if it. So you can kind of see that I really wanted to, I want that Zener to really grab it.
Wow.
And I'm doing it a slow attack and a relatively quick release.
And
so obviously, if I take the filter out, you see I'm going to get a lot more of that. It's going to do a lot more compression. So I might even put that higher. So I get a little less compression.
Wow. I haven't seen this one. How old is it?
That's a damn good question. I have
There's
Adam
so many
Peoria on another computer over here.
It's crazy how many plugins are coming out, and it's really hard to keep track of everything. But the guys at the Softtube are good friends, and they make great stuff. Really, really great stuff. I'm definitely going to check that out.
Yeah.
What else you got?
It's been out 2 weeks.
2 weeks. That's probably why I don't know it.
Yeah, the Softtube guys are like everybody. It's quite hard to keep up with all the releases.
It's wild,
honestly. I've been waiting for this one, but UAD has the curve bender and the Zener as well. So you can grab them there as well.
And it's actually the UAD. I'm not 100% sure, but usually these kinds of things on UAD are made by Softtube. So it's actually you're actually seeing the Softtube work in UAD also. Do you have another one you want to show?
I do. I have another one.
And then I have a surprise guest who wants to say hi.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I don't know how to stop the screen share, but
I can do that for you.
No, it's okay.
There you go.
Whatever you tell me. I don't know if it's of any value, but this sound, I'm basically blending a bunch of things together here, and I have a little parallel thing. Is that valid to talk about creating the
Absolutely.
parallel?
Absolutely. It's
Yeah.
very valid.
So in addition to the Zener Bender, which is on the main bass, I'm also combining it. I'm sending it to a parallel, what I call bass crunch, which I'm just
Okay.
using a decapitator. You can use almost any saturation plugin or whatever. I'm using a decapitator because I like the control that I get out of it. Doing a little bit of equalization, and that kind of gives me a bit of a growl. And then, you know, my little Maserati thing just to create a bit of width as well.
Share your screen again so I can see. So everybody can see.
Okay, I didn't know I had stopped doing that. Oh,
I did it. I did it. My fault.
You know what you're doing, man.
Yeah. There you go.
So yeah, so I've got the Zener on the main track, and then I'm sending that to a parallel with the bass that I call bass crunch, and I've just got a little bit of a decapitator thing going on there, which you know, I'm kind of hitting it, but
yeah.
Really just trying to get a bit of a growl out of it. And so what I'm doing, you can see I've got the Maserati at a very low level here, and the main bass is obviously carrying it, and then I can kind of add these two to taste. Now, whenever you're duplicating a track, in this case, I'm duplicating a bass track. Obviously, we've got to pay close attention to the phase, and make sure we're not losing something, whether it be comb filtering or just sort of phase cancellation in some way. So I'm always paying close attention to that. But I found that doing it this way allows me to control this, and I can really dig in and sort of EQ my duplicate much more, and then combine them later. And I really enjoy doing that kind of thing.
On the bass crunch with the decapitator, you have an EQ after that.
And I do. I have a little Pro Q3 on there, doing very little. You know, I'm just sort of taking away the things that get added from the decapitator that I don't like,
right?
Or that are clouding the overall clarity of the bass itself.
And your bass plugin, the Waves plugin that has your name on it. So what was the idea behind? What did you tell him? I want to do a plugin that does what? What did you tell him you wanted?
You know, I had always done a lot of. Again, I'm always layering things.
Yep.
And a lot of the sounds that we all mix in, you know, what becomes our signatures are the stuff behind the vocals. So it's like, you know, here's whoever vocalist, and you know, and people will say, well, how do you get her vocal to sound this way, or how do you get the guitar to sound that way? Well, a lot of times it's just what you got behind it. It's the little subtlety, the little nuance behind it, and you kind of add that into taste, and it sets it off. It makes that either that section come alive, or it makes you know, makes the song, makes the vocalist really carry the whole mix and the whole sonic landscape of the mix. And so the bass plugin that I did with Waves, I just wanted a sort of widener that I could use on a bass, and add that to taste. And sometimes I'll put you know, I'll do this kind of thing where I'll add a decapitator before this or after this, you know, so I can kind of mess with that signal afterward, and then I'll just blend it using the mix function. And sometimes I'll automate this just for the end of a phrase. You know, I might automate this up before the bar ends,
Mm-hmm.
and just automate this, to pop up,
Ah, cool.
just so it has a bit of something that happens before that downbeat that
Mm-hmm.
changes your ear's perspective. A lot of
Right.
times, I'll do a lot of automation on plugins. I spend a
Mm-hmm.
lot of time automating plugins because, the way that I think about things is in the same way when you're producing, arranging, or performing a song. You're pulling the audience in, you're holding them, and then you might change your vocal tonality just to wake up the ear.
Mm-hmm.
I do the same thing with automation on plugins, because I find um, that the ear needs to be woken up, and if it's not happening in the arrangement, which a good arranger producer is doing that, but it's the same as dropping a snare before a downbeat.
Mm-hmm.
It shifts the ear. It makes the ear wake up and say, oh, okay, I'm paying attention, I got it. I do the same thing with the automation, and I can do that quite often. I'll automate a compressor on a vocal, to be less or more compressed. If the vocalist is pushing harder, I might lessen the threshold so that I don't over compress on those spots.
Mm-hmm.
And it just depends what I'm trying to accomplish.